Bionic, hello, hello. Welcome in. Get everything else set up here. How are you today? Hope you're doing well. I've lost my list of things to draw. Where did that go? Let's find it. Let's find it. I think we have a few more added this week, which is cool. What? Close that. Alrighty. I think I found it. I think I found it. We'll hope for the best. It is Friday. We are doing another viewer suggestion because it's Friday and we have a bunch and they're awesome. So I want to finish some of these up. I think that will be a fun way to do the day. Let me move this mic around so I can talk at people. Yeah. Welcome back, everyone. Today should be pretty chill, I hope. Boop, boop. We're going to start off today with some rugby sketches, like we normally do. I am hanging out in Discord. I'm hanging out on the YouTube chat. Oh, I'm not in Discord. There we go. Now I'm in Discord. I'm figuring it out. Everything's working eventually. We are hanging out on YouTube today. I do have a link in the Discord if people would like to come draw with me today. You're very welcome to. And, yeah. That's what we got going. Did I accidentally? Oh, come on. Come on. When I opened up my Google Doc that had all the text in it, it closed my Aggie software, which is not cool. Duplicate. Put that over there. I don't know why it does that. For some reason, it always overwrites Aggie. Very strange. Very strange. But hopefully people can see the art now. I'm hoping. Yes. Start off with a rugby sketch. That sounds like a good idea. We finished up some commissions last night, which was great. So now we are back on open commissions and making videos. Making some sweet, sweet videos. We're listening to some Will Savino today, like normal. His stuff is great ambient music. I love it. I love it. I hope people can hear me talking. It'd be really funny if it wasn't. But it wouldn't be the first time. You know, it wouldn't be the first time I've done that. Did all of the audio just break? I hope not. I hope that's working. Can you draw Top Cat, please? I don't know what Top Cat is. I'm sorry. We normally draw D&D characters. But there are some cat folk there. We can put something on the list if you have a suggestion you'd like. I do not know what Top Cat is, though. So please let me know. Bionic can hear me. Okay, so we're good. Oh no. Oh no, the driver's not happy. I have no... Hold on a second. Dirt, 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 dirt. Give that a quick boop. Interesting. That fixed the that fixed the pen pressure, but it did not fix the eraser. That is strange. I guess I don't have an eraser today. Here we go. It's gonna be fun. We'll just be painting a whole bunch. Which at the end of the day doesn't really matter because everything I do here is black and white, so that's fine. That is fine. For those of you that are, excuse me, for those of you that are new to the live stream, normally what we do is people suggest what we would draw. We put it on a list, and we roll a die, and we see which one we draw. Today, I am drawing a rugby just to warm up, which is a good thing I did because I've discovered that my pen is broken. I don't know what happened. We'll have to figure that out. I wonder if it's because I have Windows Ink turned off because I was doing that the other day. It could be it. Should we test that? Let's test that. No undo challenge. Yeah, basically. Oh, I see what's happening. This doesn't think that my monitor is the primary monitor. That's no bueno. So my Wacom tablet is probably just broken right now. Great. What is that? This is telling me about my Windows Ink options, but it doesn't give me the options to enable it. Save me, Wacom. Oh, and that's not even opening? Really? Wouldn't be a Rook stream if we didn't have... Yep, your tablet driver is not responding. Try turning off your computer and turning it back on. Great. Fantastic. Let's see what happens here. Maybe we can reboot it. How's everybody's day going so far? Aside from my computer trying to explode. Did that just crash the Aggie completely? There we go. Okay, let's put that there. Excellent streaming today. Great. OBS also took a poop, so something is horribly wrong. But we're gonna press on. We're gonna try our best. A fancy cat with a suit. Okay, we'll put that on the list. A rich Khajiit. You saw what I did to the printer. Just office space it. Office space it real hard. Nope, still broken. Okay. Neat. I don't know if I can re-upload the... Yeah, we're just gonna go with it. Screw it. We don't need no eraser. We're badass artists. We can cope. Everything's in pen today. Everything is in pen. Rugby is our little goblin friend here. Okie dokie. Give us a little feather. Rugby plumage. Why not? That's too fluffy. I don't like that. Oh, I can't erase. No, no. No, we've made horrible mistakes. What have we done? All right. I think that's pretty good rugby. That's a pretty good rugby. Oh, I didn't draw his ears. I mean, I did, but I didn't color them. I want to get better at drawing ears. Ears are difficult things to draw. There's a whole bunch of folded things. Anywho, was messing around with a stable diffusion AI art, but I got kicked off of Google Colab for using too much data. That's funny. That is funny. Wait, were you running that through someone else's? Interesting. Google Colab, huh? AI is the AI art is terrifying. Not like, oh no, the computer's too smart. It's just like I'm worried that people don't fully understand the ramifications of what they're doing. It's kind of like when Google started out, everyone just assumed, because they were used to like clip art things in Word. They're like, sweet, now the internet has that for me, and I can search for anything I want, and I have access to all these pictures. And it's like, that's kind of true. It's kind of true, but we'll see what happens. So, alrighty, let's roll some dice. So yeah, I have a D20. We're gonna roll some dice. There's not quite 20, so we'll delete some of them. We'll re-roll. Yeah, that's it. We're gonna roll the dice. We have a big list set up from the YouTube community posts. AI art can't go Skynet. Yeah, it can't go Skynet. That's why like a lot of people are like, he created a guy with a beard, which I think Bryce sent me that, which was really cool. But a couple of my other friends also sent me like old guy, like what was it? Someone asked for a self-portrait and it freaked him out. My friend freaked out. But it's like they're just looking for self-portraits and building it off of things that are labeled self-portraits. Like, that's really cool, but it's not scary. The scary part is that people are like, yeah, I've made all this sweet art. It's like, you didn't do shit. You typed in a word. You didn't do anything. All right, Thri-Kreen Echo Knight Fighter. That's pretty cool. Uses scythes. Made out of large mantis claws. So it's a giant mantis with bigger mantis claws? That's terrifying. That is terrifying. I've drawn 400 emo teenage boys. That's it. I'm releasing the dukes. Right. So weird. The human race doesn't know what it wants. Destroy them. Alright. Thri-Kreen with extra bug parts. That sounds weird. That sounds real weird, but whatever. Excuse me. I went and mowed the yard yesterday. I forgot to close the windows, so my house is full of pollen and crap. My head feels like it's going to explode. Hopefully that will get better as the day progresses. If not, well, we'll deal with it. We'll cope. What do Rook do best? Rook cope.
Hello, how are y'all doing?
Doing pretty good. You are on YouTube today because I'm in the wrong voice chat, I just realized, so heads up. If you don't want to be on YouTube, let me know.
Okay, I'll just control what I say.
I would appreciate that, thank you. How's everybody else doing today? Honestly, I'd use it for like D&D art since I'm broke. Yeah, I think that's fine. Like I think the AI art stuff is great because it does give people access to a ton of. I mean, it's just like Google, right? Like searching for stuff, and is there? And I'm a big proponent of like private use for stuff like that, like D&D characters. I'm totally fine with. If anybody wants to use my art, anything on my art station for their private game, or just like they want to print out their own token for their own use because they're like, this is gonna be awesome. I would love that. I love to see people use my art for that. But as soon as someone starts, slapping that on a T-shirt, there's gonna be an issue, and that's kind of the problem with the AI art is it fundamentally uses and extrapolates art from other art. not 100%, but like it still is, and so you're gonna start having people in a very vague way benefiting off of other artists, and that's scary. So it really has to be mediated well, and that's the scary part. Quick, start talking politics. We don't know. Bionic, why you gotta be troublemaking? Dr. Random, greeting everybody. Hello. Guru, hello. We're drawing a bug. We're drawing a bug using bug weapons. That's what we're doing today. We are doing the viewer suggestion for those of you that just showed up. We do have the list still left over from Tuesday. A few more have been added. If you'd like to add one still, because you haven't added one yet this week, please let me know. I'm going to make this boy really buggy. I'm going to make this really, really buggy boy. You alright, cat? No? I think there's another cat outside. Pixel is not happy. Not happy at all. What's up? God, that movie. I would hope we'd get a restructuring of intellectual property law soon anyways. I don't know. I'm not sure. There's definitely... digital content is kind of wibbly wobbly right now. I mean, the other weird part about that is where do you draw the line for... This isn't an actual question. This is a philosophical, rhetorical question. Where do you draw the line for AI-driven art for the input that creates the image versus the person that creates the architecture and the code for it? Who really did the work there, right? So it's one thing to say, I bought a piece of paper and I bought a pen and I drew something, and it's another thing to say that, I built the proprietary paint color and then someone used that paint color. Those are all questions that are going to have to be answered and talked about. So I'm moving slow today. I probably won't join you for the drawing. I'm just here to hang out so much of the canvas. Yeah, no problem. Thanks for hanging out, Druid. If we do Disney wins everything, everyone loses. Yeah, right? That's the biggest problem. My stomach has been fighting me since yesterday. But I finished the commission, so that's fun. That's good. That's good. It's always rough to do commissions when you're feeling crummy. But work is work. Work is work. I don't have a... For those of you that also just joined us, my pen driver broke again, which I don't know why. It was working a little bit ago. But I need to restart the computer, and I don't want to stop the stream, so I don't have an eraser today. That's where we're at. So we'll see how things go. We will see how things go. I will post that commission I did yesterday as well. Pretty happy with how it turned out. I didn't get to finish streaming it because of just random life occurrences, but we started it on stream the other day on YouTube, or on Twitch, I'm sorry, and I finished it last night just in the Discord. We were hanging out. But yeah. Okay, so he's got giant manted parts here that are actually weapons and not his own. So I think we will try to make that look like a weapon here. I still like the idea that creatures with 4 limbs can hold two-handed weapons with one side. So you can have two two-handed weapons. I think it would make way more sense for like a Titan Mauler to just have a feat that allows them to do that. But, whatever. It feels like Titan Mauler, but with more steps, more limbs.
So, Rook, you probably already mentioned this, but how are you doing today?
I'm good. Tired. Did all my chores yesterday, and I forgot to close up the house before I mowed the yard, so my allergies are kicking my butt. Other than that, I'm doing all right. How are you doing?
I know the feeling about being tired.
I thought last night would be like the first night that I actually get some sleep, and I did. I slept a whole bunch last night. I woke up more tired somehow. I was just like, dang it, what's going on here? So we'll see what happens. But it's getting cooler here, which is nice. I'm excited for cooler. Mind you, it's only been like, I think we hit 90 yesterday. That was the hottest it's been in the last week or two. But what is up with Disney owning everything? We need to figure that out.
Lucky you, it's been staying pretty much 90 since we hit the heat wave again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been pretty weird. I haven't hooked up the AC again, so it's been nice. But I think I might have to put it back up for next week. Something is wrong with the way this body is curved. No, eraser. I guess instead of swapping, I could just use the eraser tool, right? Just can't flip my pen around. I'm an idiot. All right, we're doing fine.
So I think I found something that's more powerful than a Tarrasque.
No, there are lots of things that are more powerful than Tarrasques. What do you got? Oop, I think I just deleted everything.
Well, thanks to the new Dragon Codex that came out for 5th edition, there's a new archetype for dragons being called the Great Worms.
Yeah. Is that new? I thought that was pretty old. Aren't they Great Worms from like 2nd edition?
Yeah, but they removed them somewhere along like 3.5 of 4th edition, so at the beginning of 5th edition we didn't have Great Worms. It was mentioned they could be that old, but there was never no official stat.
Interesting.
Anyway, one of these stupid abilities a Great Worm has is to pretty much cast high-level spells, like 9th level, multiple times. So technically, if it really wanted to, based on its intelligence modifier or its wisdom modifier, it can cast up to 10 wishes or 10 power word heals or 10 invincibilities. You pretty much see where it's going.
Yeah. Yep. Great Worms are, in my mind, basically like god level dragons, right? Like they're supposed to be like Midgard Swarmer, right? Like this is a fundamental pillar of the universe in dragon form. I love that idea.
I mean, this is technically like their end of their life. All of their power, all of their magical essence is like coming right back to them, empowering them before they finally pass on.
Yeah, I like it. I really like it. The other thing about that is like, I guess I never really think about dragons. I always think about dragons as being immortal, even though they can be killed. We talked a little bit about this yesterday in Discord, about fairies and dragons being essentially like so long-lived that even at their like death throes, when their essence, like them dying in the material plane or being killed, it's just kind of like almost a nuance. And still, like, whole civilizations can rise and fall while a creature like that is slowly dying. And so I love that concept of something being so old and so ancient that it's just... death is maybe not... Like, they're not immortal, but it's just inconsequential based on the amount of time that they've been alive or could be alive. And that was with, like... So if you wanted to become a lich... I like the idea of being able to go to a dragon or go to a hag and convince them. Like, that's the thing. It's trying to convince them to teach you how to be a lich. Because to them, that knowledge is just like, that's it. That's all you want. You just want to remove your essence from your spiritual. Like, you'll do that when you die, but okay, cool. Like, it's kind of non-sequential, or is that the right word? Not sequential, not trivial. It's trivial to them. There we go. I figured it out. I figured out the word. Yeah.
The thing about the
cool.
dragons in 5th edition, though, is they actually do abide to the laws of time, and when one defies that by becoming a Drago Lich, it's actually quite a disgrace against their own kind.
Yeah, I can see that. Because lichdom is essentially like going against the natural order of things, and so like a dragon. Well, I think dragons could easily figure out how to become liches, but like it seems unnecessary, right? It's not really necessary for a dragon to become a lich. It's probably selfish looking, because really what you're doing is you're using the essence or life force of other creatures in the material plane to warp nature to the way that you want to do it. I want to live longer, so I'm going to take all these people's lives and make myself immortal. Bind myself to the material plane, or to the ethereal plane instead of the material plane. So I can see that being kind of like, hey, don't fucking do that. But like dragons and hags definitely know how to. They just don't need to. Bri, hello. Are Draco Liches... Also, Draco Liches are more potent, but are undead. Yeah. And so the undead nature of them is like I said, it's the removal of the material component of your being, and basically trying to bind it somewhere else. I want to bind life form into a painting. Nothing bad will happen.
The funny thing about a Drago Lich, though, they actually need the interference of humans to actually help them proceed on becoming a Drago Lich.
Interesting.
Now, this is not saying that one could probably just do the whole process itself, but one of the rituals considered, what we got from the Horde of the Dragon Queen, was their soul needs to be put into a giant crystal, like a really, really powerful crystal.
Heidelin is a dragon, confirmed. That was a Final Fantasy joke. This is a creepy
Plus,
bug
to
boy.
just outright kill a dragon with poison is very difficult to pull off.
Is that part of the process? You have to die by poison?
Apparently it is. They spike the food or whatever drink that the dragon will consume as its last meal with a potent amount of poison.
Are you talking about the forcing of a dragon to become a Draco Lich? Or is it because, like... Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting from the book, but that's not something I've ever thought about. I'm not sure. I don't follow a lot of the rules when it comes to that kind of stuff. Like, I love those for ideas, but then I feel like the process of becoming a lich should really be unique to each person, which I think was in the book initially, but like, I don't think you have to... I don't like that there's like okay, here's the 5 steps you have to do. It's like, all right.
And again, this just comes from a book. If you want to make your Drago Lich like, oh, he just wished upon a star and then he became a Drago Lich, go ahead, just do that.
Yeah, Brian, we're talking about the conversation we had yesterday about immortality and great worms. I don't think this makes any sense now. Like, it did for a second, and now I've lost it. Because now his scythe is upside down. Maybe he's just akimbo holding it, right? Like, that's a thing people do. It's not. No one holds a scythe like that. No one has a reverse grip scythe, especially made out of bug parts. But, yeah, whatever. I don't care. We're going to go with it.
Which, one thing I would say, I already regret that Goldtooth has immortality at this point.
I'm sorry to hear that. Sell it. Trade it to a hag for something else.
I don't know if you can do something like that.
You can do whatever the hell you want. Hags are all powerful. Did you ever, no, maybe that's not a good example. The Fae, I think, are interesting because all of the people are inherently attached to the Feywild. Whereas, like, with the material plane, people just kind of exist here. And I would say dragons are probably attached to the material plane, right? They understand and affect the surroundings. Elementals are like a purer form of that, but have less intelligence. Whereas in the Feywild, basically everybody is a Fey elemental or a Fey dragon. Like, they're innately attuned to it, in my mind. And so, like, if you went to any fairy creature and be like, hey, I want to trade X for X, they would figure out a way, right? Like, they might swindle you and lie to you about it, but they're gonna try to find a way to do that because they have basically the entirety connected to the essence of it. Path to Witchhood is theoretically arbitrary.
That's definitely more of a better way than what I was thinking. Like charging down into the 9 layers of hell just to go after a Mosius and tell him, hey, get rid of this.
Sure. Yep, that's probably a longer process. Some books, there are multiple paths, but they are all equally difficult and dangerous. Yeah, I think that should be the way it is, right? Like, really, if you want to become a lich, that's campaign-worthy content. Like an entire campaign should be either about becoming or stopping someone being a lich because it's that big of a process. It's like cross-continental shit that needs to be dealt with. Hey, an entire city of people vanished. That's weird. We should check that out. Or like, hey, we need an entire village of people, and we need to make sure that nobody tries to stop us. Evil campaigns can be really fun like that.
Oh, Goldtooth's not a lich. He was just given the boon of immortality, which was given to him by a devil.
No one said Goldtooth was a lich. Did I miss something? Do an encounter. If the party kills a hag, you have to come and then after the party because the hag is... Wait, what? I'm sorry, Megumi. Hold on. You can do an encounter if the party kills a hag. You can have them come after the party because the hag the party killed owns the hag something. Because the like, you have to physically make them pay because they killed the hag? What do you mean by that? I'm confused, Megumi. Every hag knows each other. Oh, okay. Yes. So killing a hag makes you responsible for their debts. I like that idea. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that.
Or forcefully summon one into your own reality and then forcing it to be like your makeshift grandma.
Well, you think you've told us that story before, yeah? Which I still think is a bad idea.
Oh yeah, that was a terrible idea, but it still hasn't come back and bit me in the butt yet.
Gotcha. Regrets.
But no, instead, right now, the curse of internal hunger and this blessing of immortality is actually more of a nuisance.
So you're going to cure the immortality instead of the curse?
Well, the curse is quite simple. All I have to do is just keep eating food, which that's not an issue.
That's not a curse. That's just people being hungry. Like, am I wrong? Like, the curse of hunger just makes you have to eat food?
Yeah, it just makes you 6 times more hungry. So pretty much instead of one ration satisfying you throughout the whole entire day, you would have to eat 6 times that. So
Gotcha.
You're eating 6 rations a day.
There's a set of armor you can get blessed by Desna, I think. That every night when you go to sleep, you dream about a feast. And if you eat that feast while you sleep, you wake up completely full. It's kind of a cool item. So you essentially, like, whenever you rest, you don't have to eat. You just eat while you dream. And I always thought that was kind of funny. We gave that to one of our players who couldn't eat because he was addicted to black water. So if you ever ate, you got sick. That was the downside to the addiction. But it was like, so when you dream, you're not actually eating. Does eating dream food make you sick? And it was a really weird conundrum we kind of had to deal with. You can wait.
That just kind of sounds more like Hero's Feast with just a passive effect every time you sleep.
Correct. Yeah, it is essentially what the armor does. Is it grants you the hero's feast every night. Just for you though, like as long as you're wearing the armor. It also allows you to sleep in the armor, which is kind of cool. I see the hag as almost quasi demigods. Trying to make one of your grandmothers is probably going to get you very difficult, if not quest worth of tasks. Yeah. Okay. Then again, maybe you just feed him a cupcake. I really liked that. I thought that was funny when Jester did that, and partially because Matt went with it. Matthew Mercer went along with it and didn't argue that wasn't possible. He just started thinking about how would this actually affect the world. I love that. That's the best way to go about things. So I'm happy to see what happens with that. You can cure the curse if a party knows Goodberry. You can just eat a bunch of berries every day. Yeah, Goodberry's pretty great. Like, we've talked about that in the past. Like, druids and clerics being able to just make food are world-changing spells. And so it's one of those things that
I could just go the Goodberry route, but that just seems a little bit of a cop-out in my opinion. I have all this gold, I have no way to really spend it, so why not just make it so Goldtooth just once in a while likes to buy a feast, and yeah, he shares it with his friends, but a lot of it kind of goes to him so he can control the curse.
Yep, I think that's fine. I think that's a great trade-off, right? Like that's really what a curse should be doing. It's expending extra resources. So every day you're either spending more money on rations and food, or you're expending a spell slot, right? Like Goodberry is fine because it's burning a spell slot every time you use it. And I think that's the when I started running the Ashfont campaign, which was supposed to be kind of a low fantasy survival game, I was like, if you pick a druid, I really want you to think about Goodberry because it's boring, right? Like the whole point of the campaign is to force people into making decisions. And so if you do that route, you may think, haha, I've gotten one up on you. It's like, no, I'm just basically going to force you to lose the spell slot every 4 hours. Like, that's it. And that's fine. If that's what you choose, that's fine. It's just don't think that it's and this Druid did this. I'm not pointing out Druid. Jump Rope did this. And I had one other person start up playing it, and they did it as well. So 3 different people have all tried this attempt of like, oh, if I'm going into a survival situation, I'm going to have Goodberry. Ha ha ha. It's like, no, that's fine. That's totally fine, and that's legitimate. And that's 100% what that spell is for. And in my mind, it's a perfect trade-off. You trade a spell slot for food. It's highly efficient and super great because it's not designed for a world where you're starving like that. But that's the intent. That's the intent of that Ashfont campaign, is to make you make those decisions. So yeah, I don't think it's a cop-out. I don't think it's a cop-out at all. I think it's a good response. Because if you had a curse that was just like, you lose 1 spell slot every day, you'd probably be like, the fuck? Right? But for some reason saying, no, you just need to eat a whole bunch and cast a spell to get rid of it, it feels better mechanically than just taking away one of your spell slots.
And the funny thing is, though, that's not even the worst curse I technically have on me, because I have 2 other curses. One is the Genasi's Tooth, where if I don't use the counter spell that's a 9th level every day, I'll wake up with 1 point of exhaustion.
That's interesting. That's an interesting curse.
Which, using a counter spell for pretty much anything is not that hard to do, so I don't even consider that as a very bad curse. The other one, on the other hand, the one that actually screws me over a few times after people figure this out, is the Lightning Dragon Tooth that I took that gives me immunity to lightning, but gives me vulnerability to thunder.
I don't think that's a curse, is it? That's just a trade-off.
It is considered as a cursed item.
Weird.
And literally, all the tooth does is it gives me immunity to lightning, but gives me vulnerability to thunder. That's
still a pretty good trade-off. Like, is it cursed just because you can't get rid of it, or is it?
It's cursed because there's no real way for me to get rid of it except, again, spending a spell slot to use Absorb Element to turn that vulnerability into a resistance.
Sorry,
but again, I have to waste a spell slot just to do that.
The word curse, mumble, kickstart. Well, I don't think, Bri, once again, like, if a curse is not a detriment, it's not actually a curse. You're just using the word wrong. So if you want lycanthropy, yeah, it's not a curse. If you contract lycanthropy, it's a curse. But you could also look at it as like a disease, right? I think that's fine too. It's just a matter of, it's only been labeled such for means of mechanical draw, right? Like, how could I be cursed with these good looks? It's like, well, it's not bad. You might not like it, but it might not be bad, right? It's not detrimental. It's just inconvenient. So I think, yeah, curse, grump, kick the dirt. I think that's fair. It really depends.
Like I said, the only reason why I find it as a curse is because, again, for me to use, again, the spell absorb element, I need my reaction. And let's say I use my reaction to do a dodge action. Well, now I'm screwed if the enemy decides, like, oh, hey, I know this creature here is vulnerable to thunder, so now let's cast a high-level thunder that he can't use a spell to negate.
Interesting. Can everybody use a dodge action as a reaction? I thought that was a rogue thing.
It was probably not the thing that... It was the first thing that popped in my head when it came to using your reaction, either than use it to do a spell, or if you were a battle master and do some of your reactions that way.
I always think it's funny that like there are a lot of curses that you can just remove with remove curse. And I don't know if it's because I've always played a cleric, but the only curses we've ever really had to deal with in our parties have always been curses that people choose to keep because there is some kind of like loophole in it that they like or that they think it's fun to have. A curse or a blessing is how much control you have over it. Say creating food, wish, bless, all day, no matter what. Curse, you drowned. You drowned in soup. Yeah, exactly. I like curses, but really, I think any curse is just an imposed thing on a character. So, once again, you might enjoy lycanthropy, which is fine. And if that's what your character wants, that's great. Then you don't think of it as a curse. But the way I would imply it, I'm going to treat it like a curse until it becomes part of the story that makes sense for it to not be a curse. Like, once again, if you're running a campaign where there's a group of werefolk, they probably don't see it as a curse. The outside world would, but they don't, so that's fine. And it just terminology is there for mechanical sake. I don't know if I need to draw the legs here.
Then, okay, probably the curses I have are just pretty much either negated or just not really a curse at all, because again, I have so much money that the food curse that I have, I can just easily satisfy myself. When it comes to the vulnerability to thunder, I have a spell that can easily solve that. And when it definitely comes to the counter spell, just use the counter spell.
Yeah, I don't know. Boop. Let's do that. I don't know if I want to keep going on this. I think I'm about done here. I could do the legs, but like, I think I'm pretty happy. God damn it! I don't like this song.
And I will say I am happy the DM rolled for the curse on the curse table instead of just randomly picking one.
That was fun. How would lycanthropy work with a Wereforged or an auto gnome? Beast Wars. I'm okay with them turning into robotic animals. I think that's funny. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Basically, maintain your construct form, but then you take the stats of the creature you're turning into. That's why templates were great. Templates were really great because it didn't necessarily affect what you chose. It just augmented it. So you could get those kind of fun things. I talked a little bit about one of my friends who did 4th edition yesterday. I don't know if that was on stream or not. He played a undead construct Warforged. And it's like, but Warforged are already constructs. Like, no, I'm doing some augmented stuff. And I was like, oh no. So, or he was a golem, I think. He was a Warforged golem construct. Undead construct, yeah. Long story short, he was just like a giant... he essentially was playing a giant flesh golem that had robot parts. And it was really strange. And he was super powerful because he had 3 or 4 templates just slapped on top of his base template, which is really funny. D&D really downplays curses. I use them sparingly in my world because I try curse should be a whole ordeal or handle. Whole ordeal to handle or even survive. Yeah, I think that's fair. Some good examples I've seen is like, I really like curse swords. Generally, people like the benefit you gain from them, so they're not like super detrimental. And I think a lot of DMs try to not make the curses like party wiping or like game ending. But like even like the Berserker Axe, right? If you're playing a barbarian who loves to rage, the Berserker Axe is cool. It does not really do anything different except it makes you attack your party members. Which I think a lot of barbarians don't give a shit about because like the wizard was going to fireball me anyways. It'd be really funny if I punched him in the face. So yeah, like those are some of the things that people don't always look at. I think, especially like the one where you're talking about the food one with exhaustion, or if you don't counterspell, it gives you exhaustion. That's interesting because exhaustion is one of those things that isn't necessarily scary and then kills you, right? Like it's weird how that works out. So I think that's a really interesting mechanic for that. And it does. It seems mundane, but if there's for some reason where like you don't counterspell for a day, yeah, you're exhausted. And I think that's interesting.
Like, I can see that only really killing me if somebody, let's say, put me in magical restraints or put me in a dome of anti-magic to where I cannot use any of my magic whatsoever and can't escape from this dome. Wait a few days, yeah, I'll definitely die.
I think there's some lenience on the way of your DM to let that happen, which is, you know, that's their narrative to sell. So,
so that would probably be a cool idea. That it would pretty much put a timer on everybody to go and save Goldtooth.
Oh, maybe.
Because again, he has that tooth. If he's not saved in 5 days, I think it takes for exhaustion to like outright kill you, that's 5 days you have to go and hunt down the person, find them, and save them before, again, the tooth outright kills them.
Curse items are very powerful. Very powerful. So how's everybody else doing? What are we doing today? What's the plan for games? Are people playing games this weekend? I think we're done with this boy. I'm gonna look over and try to get a new role here. Do people have any suggestions they'd like to add to the list? Is there anything people have in the way of ideas for new videos? I have a bunch. I thought it'd be fun to pause at that today. Let's go back to the list here.
I have no current ideas at the moment.
I got a game on Sunday. Nice. Are you playing it or are you running it, Bionic? A drow druid, but the only animals they summon are different types of spiders. Spider druid? Spider druid sounds pretty cool. I like that. The best example I have of a pair...
came up with a... Oh, you first, Rook.
Yeah, sorry, I'm reading the chat. The best example I have of a pair of cursed boots for my party found that grants water breathing, but makes your movement 0 in water, forcing you to sink. Oh no. Actually, that's kind of cool. I like that. Next week, I could suggest a spider humanoid where you prefer things that are not scary. I mean, I've drawn a few of the arachnid people. I think it's fine. Bionic, I would suggest you suggest things that you want to see. And if you don't have something you want to see, you know, just let other people suggest things. Scary, yeah. Yeah, you can draw spider people if you want to see it. That's fine. We'll hopefully be able to play a Voltron-themed campaign later today. That could be really fun. I like that. It's basically the Iron Boots from Breath or from Ocarina of Time, right? But without the, but it includes the water walking or the water breathing suit. I like that idea. That's funny. All right, here we go. Spider Drow Druid.
For the person that actually did mention the Spider Druid, one cool concept I came up with one time when I wanted to play one. If your DM really allows this, you could technically summon spiders, have them do their whole spider web thing, and collect a bunch of silk. If the DM allows the silk to stay once the spider disappears, and pretty much make clothing out of it.
Yeah, I've seen a few people do that. Like they'll be tailors. I played. I think someone was a swarm keeper, and they were like their profession was a tailor, and they just made spider silk stuff. I thought that was a cool idea. I think that can be really fun. Same thing with like pretty much any druids, or not druids. Yeah, no, druids just works with it. The thing about a lot of the druid summons are that they're not actually animals that they're summoning. They're summoning familiars.
Yeah, they're not actual animals. They're spirits from the Feywild that get turned into animals and get brought into your material realm to do things.
So there's that element of it, but at the same time, I think I like that concept of the. I like the concept of having a profession based around your magic. I think that's really smart. Like that makes more sense to me than just like I learned how to do fireball real good. Now adventure. It's like what were you doing before this? That's why I was like having like blacksmiths and different things to that effect.
For a while, Goldtooth didn't know how to use magic, but he knew how to find rare rocks. So I was like, okay, rare rocks, earth, druids. There we go.
I thought he got all his druid powers from a dragon, though.
He was taught how to use his magic in a form of druid.
Ah.
To tell you the truth, I don't even know how magic in 5th edition really works. Like, I just assume that people are born with magic, but they have to take a certain school to hone it into a certain way.
Well, that's wizards. That's how wizards work.
Okay, then I just don't know how druids work, because really, it's just told that, oh yeah, one druid can teach another how to be a druid, but druids are so secretive that they will not teach another person how to use the art of druid because it's against their law of nature.
I think there's a little like bleed over of like backstory to what you actually want to do with your character that I see quite infrequently confused. Where people will come up with a concept of like, okay, I want to be this grand. I think the best example is like Dragon Slayer, right? Like, I want to play Dragon Slayer. It's like, well, this is a level 1 campaign, so you probably haven't slain any dragons. That doesn't mean it's bad, right? But you're so like, essentially, same thing with wizards. Like, I studied wizardry for 20 years, and now I have 2 cantrips and a level 1 spell, and it's like, that sucks. I think a lot of characters should really come into play with like no knowledge, right? I think fighters are a good example. Fighters are proficient with martial weapons and armor because they've been trained to do that. Wizards know how to read spells but don't have any spells yet. Warlocks and sorcerers are just kind of born or manifest their stuff. And so druids, I assume, are kind of in the middle ground there with clerics kind of being like, I asked for help and I got it. Druids kind of acclimate to their spells. Living in nature, understanding nature, communing with nature gives them that kind of knowledge that they build over time. And a lot of druid spells feel a lot like, don't eat that plant, it'll kill you. Here, I brought some of the good ones. So, I don't know. I think it's interesting. There are more for druids info in Xanthar's. Oh, okay. I'll have to check that out. And training to be a Dragon Slayer. Yeah, training to be a Dragon Slayer is really good. I like that. And it builds a good character. Because it's like, I want to slay dragons. I have a spear and a shield. I will probably die if I see a dragon. How can I not do that? That'd be great. Druids get powerful from nature by
Another way I
living
can
in
see
it.
that
Yeah.
really working is you have an ancestor that went and killed dragons, and they're passing on the title of Dragon Slayer to you, but to prove it, you have to go out there and kill a dragon.
Sure, like as Escaflowne, right? Like the prince has to go kill a dragon to prove that they're good. So maybe they've trained with that dragon fighter for their entire life, so they have a general knowledge. But I still think a level 1 character basically has not killed a dragon yet, right? Like, or maybe their town was attacked by dragons and they were in the fight and somehow survived, and that's kind of their like, okay. Or the accidental dragon slayer. It's like, I need to figure out how I did that, because I didn't actually gain any experience from doing it. I just survived, which I like. I like that. Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff you can do with that.
Well, one concept I kind of like a little is you have your old, rugged, old man fighter or wizard that back in the day probably did some glorious things, but because of old age, they just lost their skills and are just rusty now.
That's an interesting concept. It's like the old editions used to like diminish your stats based on age, which I think is kind of interesting that people don't really talk about that much anymore. But the other thing is, like, a lot of campaigns I deal with take place in months, like within months of each other, let alone ever use the like, let's take 2 years of downtime. I've not played with anybody that's done that in recent years, so I think there's definitely a kind of a call to age doesn't matter when you're starting the adventure, but it could. I think you could definitely flavor that. Like, I was a fighter for 1,000 years, but then I was a farmer for 20. Like, so I kind of remember how to use this sword. I might grant that person bonus levels to start with, if that was their really callback. That could be a cool feat too. Just like, I guess that's kind of what skilled is. You could kind of look at it that way. But the feats make really good flavor. Pathfinder 2nd Edition is great for feats. Like, they really know what they're doing with that. The Kiss character's backstory sounds suspiciously like the opening to Skyrim. You're awake.
And that's where I kind of find the other theory of Dungeons and Dragons kind of funny. Because you sat in an area for so long, all the magical cobwebs has already been taken, so you're not gaining no skills from staying in that area.
Magical cobwebs.
So you need to go and gather up more magical cobwebs.
Is that a meme? I don't understand that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a meme.
Is there a video game that gives you cobweb magic XP?
No, it's mainly more just the fact of, since 5th edition has so much magic and a lot of the classes, even if you were going, let's say, a fighter, you're gonna bump into magic in that fighter, even if you want it or not. So a joke is, well, they just keep bumping into magical cobwebs that are out in the world that just give them magical strength.
I thought 5th edition was pretty lax on that stuff.
Reason why farmers, though pretty much live in a very long time, don't go anywhere with their whole entire life and don't become, let's say, a level 20 fighter just for doing their farm work every day.
Well, see, I think that's I have to push back on that every time I hear somebody say it, because like it very much is. Adventurers are supposed to be the outliers. Adventurers are the superhero chosen ones that get to do that kind of stuff, right? Like, you don't get experience from killing a pig the way an adventurer gets experience from killing a pig, because it's not mechanically necessary. Yeah. Which is why I'm a big fan of milestone leveling, because of that. Like, that makes way more sense. Doing something that the world deems you levels for makes way more sense than grinding out killing goblins. Like, that's never made sense to me.
Exactly, like the whole stupid meme there again that popped up for a bit. The level 1 adventurer that can spend close to 10,000 gold and kill off, I believe it was close to 5,632 goats and reach level 20 that way.
Yeah, like that does make sense. I don't like that kind of XP gain, but at the same time, like, what level 1 character has 10,000 gold? I never underestimate the heart of level 20 farmer. I think that's really funny way to look at it too, because like I think it doesn't make sense to me to have every farmer be a level 1. Generally, what I do is I don't give people player levels, but I'll make sure I give them commoner levels and stuff. So they are usually pretty beefy. Not to mention that, like, I will give NPCs player levels because sometimes they need that. Especially, like, think about, this is the thing that drives me up the fucking wall. If you take a feat that mechanically in the game, because they only care about the player, you have to take feats, you have to know spells to then create magical items. So either magical items are never be able to be crafted by someone who is not of or higher level than the players, or there is a like cabal of wizards that go around the country giving out free shit to merchants just to like seed the world with adventurers. And so essentially, like, there should not be any high level crafters in Dungeons and Dragons by the way that they explain a lot of their stuff. But there should be a lot of scavengers, I guess. Like, all of the magical items should have been made back in the Age of Arcanum, whatever. I don't know. It's weird. So, long story short, I like giving characters player levels, but that doesn't mean that every farmer should have them. Because it doesn't make sense for all of them to have them. But I also don't like the level 1 commoner. It's like, that guy's been lifting weights every day for years and years. He should be buff as fuck.
How I usually do my everyday commoner,
Maybe he's
based on their
starving.
job trait, I'll be like, okay, a farmer has probably some skill in archery because, you know, they have to go out and hunt a few things once in a while.
Yeah.
And probably a skill in fighter, so they could probably fight off the occurring boar that just walks into their territory or something like that.
Yep. I think that's another great example for, like, ranger levels, fighter levels. I love giving fighters levels to old soldiers. I think that's really fun. If there are all these superpowered characters, why are the players fighting against these evils? Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Like, in a world where trolls exist, there have to be a ton of people that are able to fight them. Otherwise, the trolls would just eat everybody. And I think that definitely, in my mind, means that town guards have to be competent. And I think a lot of people don't write it that way. And it makes me sad. To me, the tricks in NPCs have the time and the resources to specialize when players often don't get the chance to trust, to the truest become a professional in anything but fighting. The trick to me is NPCs have the time and resources. Yeah, I can see that. So, like, rogues guilds, right? Those guys are all trained. They might not have access to high-level magical items, but they definitely should be skilled. Otherwise, they wouldn't be professionals. Town's guards should always be tough enough to defend against the players, because otherwise anybody that is stronger than the players would just walk in and steal shit, right? Like, there's definitely a ton of different ways to look at that kind of balancing. I think I got distracted and stopped drawing.
And that's where the challenge rating for 5th edition just really screws things up and just needs to be thrown out the window when it comes to guards in general, or just people in general in the world of fantasy to be able to, you know, defend themselves when needed.
Yeah. I think the stat block for commoners is lazily written. Come at me, Chris Perkins.
I know.
I think there's a lot of really good compendiums out there from like Pathfinder and older editions that do have. I mean, it's the same thing though, right? Like, commoners are meant to be used in specific situations of storylines. So the books you have for commoners are meant to be for people who are going to interact with commoners at level 1, so that's where they're at. And same thing with town guards. Like, once you're a high enough level, you're probably not dealing with the town's guards because they either know who you are because you're renowned and famous, or you've gotten past that murder hobo stage where dealing with them is going to be an issue. And that's why they have upper leveled things, mainly focusing on like goblins, right? So like a goblin's a CR 1/4 creature, but that's only if you want to introduce them at that level to your players. If you want them to be higher, you start giving them levels. You start changing them and you make them special goblins. You start adding templates on top of them, like war chiefs and stuff for the orcs have. Not all interactions with goblins should be at level 1/4. That's just a great starting point. So, I mean, yeah. I think there's definitely the opportunity. And like I was saying, there's compendiums out there for higher level merchants, higher level guards. They're just not in the book because most people don't need them. Especially if you're doing a module that has like, okay, here's the 5 common people you're going to run into. They're on book on this page. So I think that's... Don't expect to use those permanently, I guess is the way I'm saying it.
Again, that's where I kind of run into the issue, where it's like if you're not playing by the modules and you're playing by like a sandboxy kind of game, like open world, people can actually go back to the towns they visit and not just be like, okay, you're done with this town, I'm gonna push you along the story. That after that point, it's like, well, they do want to go back to the town, they do want to buy some resources. So the thing is, though, like you just said, since now they're so high level, there's not really much that the town village can really do to, let's say, stop a wild barbarian chopping off their head just for the simple fact, oh, well, it's funny.
Don't play with those people. That's my suggestion. I wish fighters learned a second fighting style when they leveled up. Oh, interesting. I could definitely see an archetype for that. I think that would be an interesting way to do it. The archetype feats in Pathfinder are pretty cool because they let you do that kind of thing. They basically let you like subclass into other traits or other classes. Yeah.
And besides, I was just using that as an example. To me, it just kind of feels like a lot of the NPCs are just literal punching bags for the main player characters.
That's weird. I honestly, I don't know how to have this conversation. I don't know what to add because I fundamentally disagree that it's a problem. I don't see it as an issue. And if it is an issue, then it's something your player or your DM needs to adjust. Yeah. I mean, if you walk into a town and you punch a level 1 character and they instantly die, you are now a murderer, and all of the town's guards should be alerted. Right? Like, I don't see why that... I don't understand the necessity for it.
Well, of course, my players are not doing it, but I'm just saying in general, like, again, when it just comes to the commoner.
Right, but you're putting a generalization of players that would do that, is what I'm saying. Like, you're saying that these are too weak because people will abuse this, and it's like, I don't think people do abuse it, and if they're that weak, then it's something that it's a failure in the dungeon master. So I think it's not something that's an actual issue, is my argument. So that's all I have to add to it. I don't have a comment for it. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, I am probably just overthinking it and just seeing it as like, oh, well, because it's in the book and they're weak, it's an issue, when really, again, it's not, as long as you don't have players that are murder hobos.
Correct. I think the first error in that is that if your players are murder hobos, something is wrong and you need to change something. So I have in my setting Imperial guards who are magically mutated with symbiotic oh, wow. Okay. You got like Venom guards? That's creepy. Is it an evil campaign? Do they volunteer for that, or does the kingdom make them do it? Do we need to save those people from the Venoms? In my world, a 40-year-old farmer in a show of pure strength and stamina should put the fighter to shame, but has no aptitude for swinging an axe or taking massive hits. Yeah, that's a big thing. I think especially the way to look at it, And that's why commoner levels are important, like levels in Merchant, because they don't get the same like D8, D10s hit points that fighters do. Because like really the Barbarian, once again, hit points are not just like amount of blood you have in your body. It's your ability to learn and know how to take hits so that it doesn't lower your proficiency in fighting. Yeah, farmers I don't think would have that, so they should have less hit points, right? I think that's fair. They sign up for it. It's a bit of a secret. I like it. I like it, Bionic. I like where you're going. The Ashfont campaign is something similar to that, like kind of moral gray. Just like, are we the bad guys? I don't know. I don't care. I'm just signing up. I have a job to do.
Again, that's a bit better than what I do. Pretty much have a level 20 character on standby almost in every single shop, just in case players do decide to go all murder hobo.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. I usually like to make sure that my players aren't going to how do I say this? When I make NPCs that I know my characters are going to have to interact with, especially for like merchants and such, like I was saying, I'll generally make them at or above the player level, because otherwise the players wouldn't be coming to them for help. Yeah. Unless they need just like, I'm a generic blacksmith. It's like, okay. Do you sell magical items here? It's like, no. I know how to make swords. So that person would probably be a lower level, right? But like anybody who can craft magical items that the party can't deal with or can't make, is probably going to be more knowledgeable than the party. And my excuse for that is always, well, then why aren't those people helping the city? It's like, well, they're merchants. So if the king comes to them and say, hey, you're a powerful alchemist, I need your help, all of a sudden they're going to be like, well, I got all this other shit I got to do. I'm going to hire some adventurers who are on par, or maybe, there's 5 of them. They'll be able to deal with it. But the king came to me first, right? So that makes sense to me to justify that power level in a city. Or I'm too old, or I don't like dragons. Someone else deal with this dragon problem. I think there's a lot of little things you can do without just having to like strong arm the players. All of the guards here have shotguns and they don't trust you. So what? Come on, be cool.
Okay, this will probably be me also overthinking this again, but it also runs into the fact of, if your NPCs are too weak, but then if you make them too powerful, what's the whole point on sending off adventurers to go and do something if obviously a handful of the King's Guard can easily take care of the problem?
Yeah, and that's what I was saying with like expert level characters or specialized characters. If you have a kingdom that has very powerful guards, but they're like, yeah, we sent 10 guards out to kill that dragon because we're like, they'll be fine. Weird, they didn't come back. Like, that's the thematic, right? Like, just because they don't want to risk their guards. So like, we're willing to pay money to keep our guards safe because obviously the last time we sent somebody, they died. If the dragon attacked here, we'd probably be fine, but they're attacking farmers. We can't send out guards protecting every single farmer that's out there. We're going to pay somebody to take care of it. It's hiring the right tool for the right job, right? And adventurers are the right tool for unknown danger. And I think that's a good way to look at it. Alchemists can make potions to kill a dragon, but we need someone to get it into the dragon. Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to look at it. And I think that's a good like story hook point too, right? I'm a big fan of this is one of my issues with like DC. DC always feels like the human DC Comics, by the way. That's what I'm talking about. I feel like humans in the DC universe are really stupid. And that's how they're written. They're written as just like can't handle anything. Whereas humans in the Marvel universe, even with all of these superheroes about, they're still competent. There may be things they can't deal with, but like they're still competent people. And so when it comes down to things in D&D games, I feel like a lot of people write the commoners as just super stupid, the guards as completely incompetent, and like I've done that in the past. It's funny to have incompetent guards, but at the end of the day, I feel like the king shouldn't always be talking to the adventurers, right? Like it doesn't make sense for some random schmuck that might be a powerful wizard to just get to walk into a town and talk to a king. You should always be dealing with like a town guard or a magistrate or like I said, a shop owner who's just like, hey, the king hired me to go poison this dragon. I can kill it. I don't want to die in the process. I'll pay you guys to come with me, right? So like having that intermediary or that guide, I think is really smart storytelling. And then it makes it more impactful when all of a sudden, like, we need you to talk to the king. It's like, we need what now? It's like, yeah, we need you to talk to the king. It's like, holy shit, something bad has happened. They made a gun that can kill God. Oh, no. Oh, no. Can you drive screws through a board with a ruler? Yes. Would it be easier and more effective if you had a screwdriver? Yes. I think that's a great example, Dr. Random. I think that's a great example. I think PC characters are sometimes the right tool, and sometimes they're just the tool that is needed. And I do think people just need to give their NPCs a little more credit, especially with it's more work. It is more work for the DM, and that's why I think some DMs get scared of like flying characters, like, oh, that would break my campaign. And it's like, I mean, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to break your campaign. It might, because you haven't planned it out enough, but it doesn't have to. So a little bit of forethought, a little bit of planning can be really good, and really make your NPCs feel more real, feel more competent, and really make your game shine a little bit more.
I just see it more like this. Before your adventurers enter a town, just throw a few confident people inside that town. So, just in case something does happen, you have a bit of a backup emergency.
Yep. I think that's what I hope that's what it was trying to say.
You were glitching in and out for me pretty badly, but that's more on my end. Plus, just the alchemist poisoning a dragon, that just reminded me of a game I used to play.
Player characters have deniability. Yeah, that's true. Have you ever let a party make artifacts before? Yeah, I have. Unless you get the PC a fly speed of 100. What's wrong with the fly speed of 100? Man, if you have a campaign where you're like feel like everything's really slow, give your players like free movement speed. It's so nice. It's so good.
That's kind of what artificers are in 5th edition. They can pretty much make magical items on the fly.
Yeah.
During certain levels. Like, for example, a level 1 through 5 artificer is not going to make artifact legendary items.
Something I thought that was interesting with the artificer is essentially they have the Pathfinder Paladin ability where they can buff weapons, but they can give it to other people. So I kind of like that. But also with the lack of crafting in 5e, it's just led to so much confusion, and it's so frustrating. I have problems with artificers every time somebody plays them. When it comes to artifacts, though, yeah, I really love the concept of giving your players something that they can either A, upgrade, or B, find and build. And I think artifacts are a great way to do that, like especially when you have an artifact that is like, here's a bow that's an ancient bow, and then you find more components for it, or you can find somebody that can add to it, or a sword, I guess is a better example. So it starts as a +1 and eventually gets to like a +5. I love that kind of stuff. And I think artifacts are kind of that, because artifacts are just like super powered, enchanted weapons. Yeah. So making them, yeah. But I usually have it be a quest thing.
Yeah, I majorly agree on you on that one, where 5th edition just doesn't have a interesting or good, understandable crafting system behind it. Because again, back to the artificer, one of the items they could make pretty much right off the bat is a bag of holding. Okay, how are you supposed to make a bag of holding? There's no in-game lore that specifies completely what are the ingredients to make a bag of holding. So what my character did was just take a regular old day backpack, put some enchanted runes on it, and there I go. I have a bag of holding.
Yeah, so the artificer's ability to craft, like, they can craft so many magical items per day, and one of them was the bag of holding. And so it's like, cool, you've created a bag of holding, but it's not like a real bag of holding, and that's frustrating. Because you're right, there is no recipe for a bag of holding. It's just like, oh, it's a CR9. It's like, or a CL9. And it's like, okay, you didn't define that in this version. Please clarify. There's enough in like 3.5 Pathfinder that you can figure it out, but it's still, yeah, it feels sloppily put together because they're not really crafting anything. They're just gaining access to magical items a number of times per day or per their level that are ethereal and don't really exist. And it's just like, that's not really a crafter. It's just an item wizard, which, it's a cool item wizard. It's a cool class if that's what you want. They even have the robe of pockets, not the robe of pockets. What is it? Robe of patchwork robe? Is that what it's called? I like that item. It's a fun item, but like, they just craft it for themselves and not as like an ethereal or a thing that permanently lives in the universe. I would argue that they could take any of those, times it by 2,000, and then there you go. They have a permanent item. But who cares? There is in early editions, so 5e crafting sucks. Yeah. More city gates have sites that automatically cast hold person or even splatter magic paint on the criminals. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Yeah, magical deterrents, I think, are really interesting. There's a couple of those they talk about in the Dritz books. Like, what the hell is it called? Golems. Like, guard golems at doors in large towns or even in, like, fancy shops. I really like that concept.
Okay, I have to get going. It's starting to thunder outside, and I gotta start getting dogs in.
Okay, best of luck. Enjoy your day.
It was nice talking to you, and it was nice to interact with all of you on YouTube as well. Have a nice day.
Thanks for hanging out.
Stay dry out there.
Yep, catch you later. NPC level is not the only thing that dictates balance or difficulty. I believe setting and world building make far more impact. I could agree with that. I think that is true. I think it's something to deal with specifically, or something that needs to be dealt with specifically, is that power level of NPCs shouldn't fluctuate, but it also needs to. Like, you go off on an adventure and then you pop a level, like you level up while you're outside of the town. You shouldn't inherently just have gained all this power from fighting goblins, right? Like, there's this tier step of level gaining, because mechanically that's how it works. But if you, like, it doesn't make sense in world for you to do that. So I'm usually pretty cool about leveling NPCs with the characters. Just because it needs to make sense that just because you're gaining new skills doesn't mean you are, 2 or 3 times more potent than this person now. It always feels wrong to me. So I usually keep NPCs within a few levels of the characters one way or the other, depending on if they're supposed to be stronger or weaker. I make your doors into golems. Make your doors into golems so they can just talk to you. Announcing that you're approaching. If you denied entry, it just hides the door handle. I like that a lot, actually. Just like gargoyle doors. And then if they let you by, they just actually stand up and move. That could be really fun. This is probably one of the most simple characters I've drawn in a while. Just a little drow with a spider. I don't know what else makes a druid. What else makes a druid? Little bugs in their hair. Maybe they've got a spider on their shoulder. Beep, beep, beep. Antlers. Drows need antlers. Bugs for spiders to eat? Oh, that could be funny. I would think an Underdark Drow Druid would have some cool bioluminescent mushrooms. Okay, that's a good idea. I like that. Can add some little mushrooms around here. Bioluminescent spiders, that could be cool too. The doorknob from Alice in Wonderland, that's a good example. I like that idea of like the animated door. I feel like that would be an easy enough enchantment to do. Who goes there? What's the password? The fuck was up with that door though, right? Oh, I'm locked. It's like you can't unlock yourself? What a weird door. What a weird door. Maybe a satchel. I feel like a satchel would be a good one. There's a magic card called the Druid's Satchel. Lets you summon sapperlings. I always thought that was funny. Maybe I'll put that in the game. I bet Lars would like that if I started putting magic cards in the game. I know there's a lot of D&D and Magic the Gathering crossover, but that could be really funny. Get in my mug cannon. He'd hate that. All right, I'm going to call that one there. Let's do another one. Let's do another one. You notice how 5e is slowly relearning stuff from 2nd edition? Yeah. Yeah, I have noticed that. I feel like 5th edition is finally getting into a way where it can start becoming more complex. And I think a lot of that is because they are developing the FTT, and now that they own D&D Beyond, they're like, ooh, people are now not having to write all this stuff down on a character sheet. We can actually start adding more complexity. So I hope it gets better. I hope it gets more interesting. Tiefling, Oath of the Watchers Paladin. Did we talk about what the Oath of the Watchers was? I think they're like defending of the like. I think I want to do Oath of the Watchers. I made a Pathfinder Kanrasu, which is I'm going to draw some of those later. Probably next week. I'm going to try to do the video for them, I think, next before I do the auto gnomes. But I want to do the auto gnomes too. So many good ideas. Long story short, I basically made an Oath of a Paladin, of the Watcher's Paladin, but for a fighter. Because I didn't really like the champion specs they had. But maybe I could do a champion into... No. I'm not going to do that. I might, if I make it in 5e, I'll make it a Paladin. I think that'll be really cool. Because I like that. I like that idea. Maybe I'll just make that character for fun. But I like that idea of like watching and protecting the material plane from outsiders. Very Dresden. I love it. I'm gonna make. I know it said tiefling, but I'm gonna make it an astral elf tiefling. Cause I can.
Go ahead. So hello, bro.
How are you doing? How
I'm
you doing,
okay.
Corvus? I don't know if I ever asked you how your birthday went.
I mean, birthday itself was but the week after my birthday was good.
Okay, yeah, because I think last time I talked you were going out for dinner or something. Or maybe you just got back, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we went out for Indian.
That's right.
I will say I feel real bad for the restaurant we went to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Your friends
I mean,
assholes or
No, I feel bad because they bought the place right before COVID hit and all the shutdowns happened, and so they're like very much still recovering from that particular time period. So it's like it's very a bare bones restaurant. Like that sucks.
We have a couple places around here that were basically a lot of the places we go to get like Thai food or Chinese food used to be little tiny houses that people converted into restaurants. And I think when COVID hit, they had to shut down and they weren't big enough to do anything. But now they got so popular as takeout and takeout and delivery places that when you go in, because we always just go in and pick it up because we're not paying for Instacart. Fuck that. No offense to anybody who runs Instacart. We just go get it. And every time we go pick it up, like they still haven't reopened their restaurants. They'll have like a table off to the side, but they're like everything else is packed up. And I think there was I think that's just kind of the way it is around here now, of it being very much to go. And for those little boutiques, I think that worked out for them. Because then they don't have to worry about the running costs of having all that open. It is just out the door all the time, and I kind of like that. I think more. I like sit down restaurants, but at the same time, I don't. I like eating at my house, so I'm okay with it. I don't know. I hope they're doing well, because I can't tell if they're doing well because it looks like they're still closed, but they're running food out of there every time we're there. There's lots of people ordering food, so I don't know if it's just the new trend or what.
Chinese restaurants
Mm-hmm.
and or Indian restaurants, a lot of times they're like family run, straight up like started by a family.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying. Like since it's usually run out of their house or a small house they own, it very much always feels like, oh, okay, so now they have the kitchen staff running, but they don't have to have the front of house staff anywhere near where it was before, and they're still doing well. So like that was an interesting place that I think they cut costs by not bringing back their wait staff. And their dishwashers and stuff, and so it's interesting to look at and see how it goes.
Yeah, it looked like this place they bought like a former like barbecue joint. It had like that weird country store-esque vibe going on.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was very odd.
They have like the bar with the boot bar on it.
No, there's like just a lot of like rough lumber everywhere.
Okay. Very rustic.
Okay, so this was, rustic. I was like, okay.
Interesting.
Because it's like in this like, I guess the term's duplex.
Okay.
Big long strip of buildings.
Sure.
That kind of just are smushed together.
Oh wait, like a strip mall?
Yeah.
Or are they houses or are they little buildings?
It's just like one long strip of buildings.
Okay.
Connected.
That's basically like all that exists around here. Like there's very few like standalone restaurants anymore. Unless they're huge. Like there are huge restaurants. But especially if they don't have their own parking lot.
It was like right next to a internet cafe. I was like, those things still exist?
Weird. Yeah. Can I steal your Wi-Fi?
Basically.
I think it's really funny in a lot of places down here in Seattle. like the Wi-Fi password is less protected than the bathroom. It's like, can I use your restroom? It's like, no. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'll buy a cup of coffee. They're like, great, here's the passcode for it. It's only going to work for today, so don't get any funny ideas. And it's down the hall, and you're just like, holy shit. Like, why is this bathroom so protected? It's weird.
Yeah. I always would get things like...
drugs, everybody, drugs.
Here's like this big long stick with a key onto it.
Yeah, I remember those. That's very, like, northern Idaho. Like, oh, you want to use the restroom? Here's the plunger with the key on it. It's like, thank you.
Yep. Very weird.
It's around the back.
And
Which...
hope it's not too bad.
Yeah. To be fair, I think a lot of those old bathrooms were for the attendants, though.
Almost likely.
Like they were built on the outside because then the attendants didn't have to go inside to use the restroom after filling gas. And now there's convenience stores in every gas station, and it's like, oh yeah, let's just put the bathroom on the inside. That makes way more sense.
Yep.
I did the thing. I did the thing wrong. I wanted big floofy hair, and I forgot about the horns. The horns are the important part. I went full astral elf.
I mean,
The answer is heroin use. That's why the bathroom is so guarded. Yeah, covetous guarded. I agree. Speaking of which, I was driving home and I saw 3 people on the side of the road. Just decided, hey, fuck it, let's just shoot up some stuff. And I was like, okay, that's neat. America. And I almost I had that brief moment of yelling at them, and then I was like, 1, not my place. 2, not really my responsibility. And 3, I don't need to be that asshole. Like they have their own issues without me being like, hey, stop doing drugs. So I just, and then as I was driving past, the big guy in the big rig behind me just bwah, 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 scared the hell out of him. And I was like, yep, all right, there we go. Someone's that guy. So that's fine. But, ugh, man, that sucks. That sucks real bad.
Clearly have your own issues going on. Just gonna...
Yeah, I mean, I'm not helping him by doing that. Maybe I am. I don't know. I doubt me slapping a fucking slapping cocaine, or I was gonna say crack cocaine. That's not right. Smacking meth out of somebody's hands isn't gonna make them be like, you're right, I should stop doing this. Thank you. If only it were that easy.
Oh, that was not a good trade.
I smoked rocks, Joe Rogan. Ooh, Chappelle, weird. Not a good trade. What are you playing?
I just got invaded by an NPC in Elden Ring.
Ah.
He's a Halbert user, so...
I don't like those horns. I don't like those. Part 4. Initiating that interaction opens a more dangerous door potential to you. That's true too. Like me honking horn, then they find the car. Something should be done. People should just put up signs that say no drug use. That would help.
I mean, they did.
There's a sign next to the bus stop by my house that's just like, no prostitution. It's like, isn't that already illegal? Like, do you need the sign? Is that going to deter people? Like, oh, sorry. I didn't see the sign. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah. Maybe there's like an accelerated fine there or something. I don't know. I need a cool horn type. What kind of horns should this person have? I kind of like the uppy, but I want to do some, maybe this. Maybe we do a loop. Real thick.
Thick horns?
The way you said thick horns sounded like Bitcoin to me. Is that goat scratching its own ass with its horns? Is that what I'm saying? Ooh, those are some good ones. Yep. Hey, if you got the tools, might as well scratch your own butt with it. Asian dine-out restaurants. Yeah, I really like Asian food. It's good. It's real good. I worked at a Peruvian fusion restaurant, which had a lot of like Asian influences. Peruvian food's really good. I really like the top right of those. The top when you did Bry, the top right. I love that, like the Nico Bolas. Kind of bullhorn thing going on. That's a cool one. I like that. Maybe we do a third curve. Maybe we have another curve go like this. Ooh, I like that. And there we go. Nope, get rid of this. Get rid of all this shit. I'm surprised you're still playing Elden Ring, to be totally honest.
I did just start it back up not too long ago, so.
Are you playing a new character you haven't played before? A new class?
Yeah.
What are you playing?
A new class. I started out as a warrior.
Okay.
With the dual scimitars.
Wait, okay.
I have like
Dual scimitars. Yeah, okay, I
But
got
I
it,
ended up-
yeah.
Like, do you know which one I'm talking about?
It took me a second. It took me a second to think about it. I was like, who starts with two swords? But,
Yeah. The warrior.
yeah, the warrior.
Literally just what it's called. But I've like transitioned to like a heavy thrusting sword.
Oh, actually, you said you found like the Esoc or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah. Well, the giant version of it.
Yeah.
Which scales more with strength than dexterity, which makes sense. And I have like a fireball that I can break out if for ranged people. Mainly the bats.
I still want to do a PvP build one of these days. But
Just shields all the way down.
Shields and potions that make you explode.
You could also take a potion that turns you into lead.
Lead? What's that? Oh, yeah, lead. Gotcha. Yeah, I've drunk that one. That was really funny. It's like, I'm made out of metal. What now?
You have like ridiculous poise, but you fat roll and you're weak to lightning, which is not a common thing to worry about, so. God, it's a lobster. crawdads.
Everything has become crab. Would it be a bad idea for me to buy a haunted house and just try to raise a ghost army to take over the living world? No, I think that's legit. I'd be okay with that.
That right.
My worst fear, I think, would be me buying a haunted house and then discovering that it was just full of raccoons. Like, that it wasn't actually haunted. And
then it'll make it even more expensive.
Well,
to get rid of them.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like you buy a haunted house because it's like dirt cheap, and then you get there and there's just like 1,000 dead raccoons in the attic, and you're like, God damn it, like, this isn't haunted at all.
And then like 2,000 more living raccoons.
Yeah. Like, try to go to sleep and like they just climb out of your air vents and like steal shit. You're like, God, I wish it was ghosts. I wanted this to be ghosts. I could deal with the walls bleeding, but the raccoon poop is just...
That would be the most terrifying thing.
It's just...
Walk out on a back porch. It's just seeing hands grabbing everywhere.
I went to a house party in Moscow when I was going there, and I walked outside, and people were just like staring at me. I'm like, what's wrong? And then they like pointed up, and I turned around. This is on like a balcony. There were 2 raccoons sitting on the top of the roof, like 3 feet from me, just staring, and it's like, oh God. What are they going to do? I don't know what's happening here.
I'm going to jump you. Take your money.
Yep. Give me the booze and the pretzels, and nobody gets hurt.
Terrifying creatures.
Love it. A 2,000 raccoon army is a good start, especially 1,000 that are already dead for potential ghosts. Yeah. Necromantic raccoon army. Could work out.
So Hector from Castlevania.
Does Hector have an army of raccoons? Or are you just talking about the anime?
Puppies.
Okay.
In the anime. At least.
God, that was a weird anime. The Netflix thing made me so mad. Netflix keeps doing this thing where they're like, we'll start really strong, and then season 2 is just going to be a throwaway crapshoot.
Seasons 3 and 4 were pretty good.
Yeah, and then season 3 and 4 were good again. I don't know if it's just like, I feel like they take something that's okay and then demand a second season out of it. And so I don't know if the companies are just stretching it or season 2 is always filler. It's really weird, but like it makes me not want to watch a lot of shows because I know I have to suffer through a shitty version before they get back to their real story. I feel like they did that with the new Voltron series, and
I am looking forward to the new Castlevania movie or series they're bringing out.
Is it a continuation or is it just a new series?
It's like a new series. It's by the same animation company.
Okay.
That it's based around Simon Belmont.
Oh, interesting.
Like the French Revolution era. So like early 1800s.
Was Simon the first game? Or was that
I think so. He's the one in the blue.
Yeah, I think he was the first game. Which was not like, I don't think the first chronologically, but
yeah.
Simon and Trevor. Trying to think if there are more than that.
No, it ain't Simon. It's
Richter?
Richter.
Richter is the blue one, the first one?
Yeah.
And then Simon was the Nintendo DS version? Was Simon's
I
Quest
think so.
based off of Castlevania? Or was that a completely different game?
Someone who knows more about this, tell us. Because I know one of them throws cross knives. Literally, like, bladed
Yeah.
crucifixes. And one has a whip. I think Richter has the whip.
I think
Simon
Richter has the
cross.
whip, yeah. That's not what I wanted. Is that a rat? Or is is it an albino raccoon?
Some other creature of the night.
The ghost of a raccoon. Funny. Funny.
Obviously.
Don't give her a braid. Need to work on my braids.
Quick, everyone send pictures of braided bread.
Prepare the bread. I think the other problem I've had with it is like, it's whenever you try to draw, they're like, oh, do this, and that's fine. But then what that does is it makes the braid, always face onto you, when really it should be twisting a little bit, and that's tough too. So you have to kind of think about a whole bunch of different things.
Hair is weird.
Yep. Thinking about shaving my head.
That happened to me 2 days ago.
Yes.
It was getting way too hot and made sleeping a pain behind it. So like, time to get it cut. Sadly.
It's just a little too long for me right now. I can't put it up. I can't put it down. It's just like, it's just always in a bun, and I don't care for it to be in a bun. Oh, God.
That poor raccoon.
I done been shaved. My poof. My poof is gone. All right. I think we did it. I think we did it today. I think today was successful. We got some more of those done. We got about half of them done, which is nice. It was a pretty chill day. And that's okay. Chill days are good.
Never bad to have a chill day.
Yep. I think I'll go get some lunch. I guess I had lunch earlier. Why am I hungry? Oh, because pizza's not super filling. I'll go eat some fruit. Got to eat the fruit. We're finishing the elf thing tomorrow, right? I think that's the correct. So I'm playing Finny again.
Ah yes, the tomb.
The Tomb of Elves.
Maybe I like to get to use my pepper box this time.
We were playing with Lars over the week, earlier in the week. And I was playing Shiva, and I haven't played Shiva in a while. And I wanted to play her, like, just very supportive, because I want...
What you do?
yeah, I mean, I designed her as a secondary character for when I'm DMing. And I'm like, oh, I'll play her, why not? It'll be fun. And I started running around, I'm like, she can attack twice now, so I can actually, like, dagger, dagger, dagger. That's cool. I'm gonna do that. And so I just, like, I ran into combat, I'm like, knife, knife, knife. That's my turn. And I was like, I didn't give her any, like, unique things to do. Uh-oh. Because I built her so I could just, like, inspiration and, like, buff the party, inspiration. So it's funny. It's funny when you hit playing characters that you didn't quite actually intend to play. It's like, I might have done something wrong here.
Mistakes were made.
Yeah, mistakes were made. All right. But I think that's probably good. I think that's good. We have our... I kind of want to do... I think I'm going to build a Sentinel. Whatever the hell they're called. She's Paladin.
Paladin. 1,000 with Sentinel trait.
I want Sentinel. I'm tired. No, whatever this was supposed to be. The Outer Guard Paladin. I think I'm going to try to build one. We'll see where it goes.
Oath of the Watchers.
Yeah. Oath of the Watchers, that's it. Where's the fluff? It must be cold. Yep. I like how the first raccoon's like, don't look at his nakedness. It's embarrassing to everyone. But yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for hanging out today. We'll be back next week on Twitch. I think I have a dentist appointment on Monday, so I will not be around Monday morning. It might be around Monday afternoon, but we'll just we're gonna try to draw some cool stuff. We need to draw a Konrasu. We need to draw a auto gnome. We'll try to get some videos out for those real quick. And keep your comments for next week. If you have a character you'd like to see drawn, go put a comment on a video. Maybe your favorite video. Just be like, this is my favorite video. This one's real good. Or maybe comment something about one of the new classes or new races that are coming out. That you're like, oh, I love this, but I want this to see. I want to see this kind of thing. We need engagement. We're getting up there. And I want to keep seeing the channel grow. So thanks again for watching. Stay happy, stay healthy, keep your dice on the table, and we'll catch you next week. Bye, everybody.